All right, let me start off by saying this right here. 13 years ago, I absolutely knew nothing about trading futures. The only thing that I knew about was buying stocks, which everybody particularly knows about, long-term holding, purchasing. But I didn't buy any stocks. I wasn't into investing 13 years ago. But today is a different story. Today I am a day trader by heart, and I trade the NASDAQ 100, the ES futures. Trading futures has been a lifestyle for me, okay? I wish I would have known this when I was younger, possibly in my early 20s or even when I was in college. Because if you're someone out there right now, you're actually a college student, and you are, say, for instance, maybe looking for a job, whether it be on campus or maybe, off campus, or maybe you have to support your own means of paying your tuition, your room and board, your dining, and all those tuition fees that eat at your pocket. Some people don't have the luxury of affording to be able to go to a four-year institute or university, or being able to simply pay for that college, paying for an education greater or higher than receiving a diploma from high school, So again, I wish I would have known this when I was younger. I wish someone would have shown me. I wish I would have had someone that I could have reached out to. I wish I had a family member, a friend that knew something about trading futures when I was in my earlier days of when I was younger, okay, especially in college. But I did, fortunately enough, in time, come across individuals and have individuals that were part of my life that introduced the idea of trading futures to me, and I grabbed it, guys. I really did, and I never let up off the gas pedal, because it's always been one of those things in life that I wanted to carve out a path or avenue for myself, and I think everybody needs to. I think you need to find passion in something and make it your own. And I'm not saying everybody's designed or built to trade, because some people just, I don't know if it's a mentality based issue or problem surrounding the psychology, because I think that's why a lot of people get caught up in not being successful at trading, is because I think it's a psychology piece. They are doing things early on before they even start trading live that they should be smacked on the hand for, oversized trading, the greed steps in. If I could do this, then I could do this in live, chasing trades, taking breakouts, all, just a complex, a variety of different things that so many people have a hard time or issue with when it comes to being successful at day trading. And I just can't put my finger on just one individual thing, because, I've come across a number of traders, okay, that even though they may trade various markets, they all had their own or different story when it comes to becoming successful or finding a way or path or lane that allowed them to become successful in time. And everybody's different. The way I see things may not be the way you see things, or the next person or the next person. And so it's hard to really show someone. I don't like to use the term teach or educate, or because I'm not a mentor in a sense, and I don't have anything that I'm offering other than pure experience through the means of creating this video content, because I want to reach the masses of people, from a public standpoint, and show them how I started off trading, how I trade to this day, how I do it each and every day, and be able to be profitable. And consistency is a big part. But everybody and every single individual is different. I mean, trust me, and it's hard because sometimes, no matter how much you try to show someone something, it's just as if they're never going to get it. I don't know what it is. I think that in their mind, they make things more complex than they simply can. It really is. But trading is not easy. It really not, because the markets are changing each and every day. So 13 years ago when I started, I had no idea. I just like most traders starting off, thought I knew everything, thought I knew how to trade. But luckily for me, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of money to really test the markets with. I spent a lot of time, say for instance, in demo, I'm just very blessed in a sense to not have blown money, because I see people and I hear people when they say they've blown their accounts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and that's really gotta hurt, especially if you don't really have the money to be able to come back off of, or maybe you have to go back to work. And I really hope no one really stepped away from their full-time job and took on the interest or wanting to get into the business of trading without seeing it through to make sure it was going to work and to prove to themselves that it could be consistent and profitable at the same time. But that's the route that I took, and I slowly kind of edged my way into it inch by inch, picking up certain things, learning things. So it took me longer because I had to educate my own self, and I didn't have anyone in my pocket, say for instance like a mentor, someone that was really good at trading, that could really show me the full-on ropes, because people trade differently, okay? I do know people who trade, okay, but they don't trade the exact same way I do. So I had to figure out my own lane and how I was going to make this work for myself. And, again, how someone else perceptually saw something or what they see on a daily basis in trading, I may not see it the same way. So that's the thing about trading. I mean, you can show someone something, and especially if they have already, I'm not gonna say bad intentions, but they learn something that has really corrupted their mindset in a sense, and they can't let it go. And that's why I made a video like many months back about decluttering, doing away with the old or the bad habit stuff and starting fresh. That's what it took for me. So 13 years ago, I was blessed to get into this, and I stuck with it. And today I'm very thankful that I did, because, there's so many different things that people can get into, and wanting to become their own boss, starting a business, and sometimes businesses don't work, okay? And then they have to go back to the drawing board. We don't want to go back having to work for someone, but sometimes we have to, just to kind of regain composure and build ourselves back up. But I want to show you the strategy that I trade, and I'm going to use an example because people like to see real-time or live examples of, how did you do it? And I posted this same trade setup over on our Discord community. So if you're not a Discord member right now or today, I would recommend, it's free of charge. So just scroll down to the description portion of the video, click on the Discord link, it says Discord, and invite yourself in for free. That's where I post, and many of the other community members post screenshots or the trades that we take, and we discuss them. And again, not everybody trades the same way. Not saying everyone trades just like me. So someone on the Discord server may trade different to me, and so that's the beauty about it. People trade variety of different strategies, and what works for you, stick with it, is what I'm trying to say. But this all, everything I've learned over time has been a game changer for me, and has set the tone and the precedence for me to be able to each and every day sit from the luxury of my home and just make profit, make money. It's not easy every day. Some days the markets is always, it could be ranging, it could be trending in a certain direction. And, people struggle with different things. They struggle in trend days. They struggle when the market's ranging. And, it's hard because you can't, you can show someone how you do it, but they have to be able to see it and do it for themselves to make it work. You can't get into their mind and just take out everything outside of your mind and put it in their head, and then boom, presto, everything's going to work for them. So let me show you this strategy, because it all centers around supply and demand. But the key to really becoming successful is to really master market structure. Think about it like this. If you have a hard time understanding, do I need to trade up? Do I need to trade down? Then you're going to have a hard time trading no matter the strategy you use. Strategies are what they are. They are tools that we use that help us execute and get into positions. Okay, that's all they are. All right, we're looking for certain things to happen, which tell us or allow us or give us a signal to get in. But if you're trading in the opposite of to what the market is actually doing, then you may find yourself losing that trade, and that happens lots of times. Okay. So you really have to understand and be able to read the market. And it's like I always say, it's no different than really picking up a book and reading that book to comprehend what's going on, the storyline, the message. Same thing here. All we have to do is, but from a visual standpoint, is to pick, determine what is the market really trying to do. Should I trade up? Should I trade down? Go short or buy? So, again, the strategy and how I trade is all centered around supply and demand. We're looking for aggressive areas of buying and selling. And you have to just, it's really common sense. If you think about it, it's just very simple. When we see the market pushing in a certain direction, if it's trending to the upside, and we see aggressive buying coming out of a swing, or in the creation of a zone, what do you think took place there? Do you think you made that the difference of your trade made that difference of the market pushing up like that aggressively? No. The only entities that really have the driving force, okay, the capital to be able to make things push the way they do in an aggressive fashion, is going to be the banks and institutions. So the moment you understand how to trade with them and like them, okay, all right, I really want to say, I'm not going to say like them, because they're the ones that are making the moves prior to. We just want to trade when the market comes back to a zone and grab the crumbs off the table, okay? Because we're not going to make all that money that they're making, but if we can grab a percent of it on a daily basis and grow our accounts, that's the goal. So take a look here. I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about here, because the market is now pushing to the upside. We see that, right? But there was plenty of opportunities, say for example, this morning to look for, shorts, say for instance, okay? Now, if you know anything about market structure, yeah, you can see the market's moving to the downside. But you also have to see the reversals in the market to where the market started to push higher. In this case here, we can see the market pushing back higher here, taking out structure, And when it's breaking higher and taking out structure back to the upside, then there's a reversal. We should be looking for what? For opportunities to go long, okay? And so that's what we're looking for. The way I trade, I like to see a break of structure, okay? And following structure. And if I'm going to go long, for example, I want to see a break of structure where there's a demand zone created. If I want to go short, then I want to see a break of structure where there's a supply zone created in which I can trade, off that zone. So when the market was moving higher here, I'm going to show you this last, I think it was the last trade I took today, and I posted over in the community. And I was able to pick up a 10-point runner on this trade here. Let me go ahead and show you this right quick. I'm just going to show you on the Discord right quick. Let me grab it. All right. This is the trade I took right here. Okay, as you can see right here. All right, it was a 10-point runner. I was going short, and it was off of this zone. What I'm getting ready to show you right now, off my I marked off my higher time frame chart. So the strategy and how I trade is I like to mark a zone off of a slightly higher time frame chart. I'm not gonna say time frame because I trade range chart, so a slightly higher base chart. So I mark my zone, say for example, off of a 60 range chart. This was a supply zone right here. Okay, why? Because we got to break a structure to the downside. The market on its way back up to the upside tapped into the zone right here. So once it taps into it, there's a series or step-by-step thing, a series of events that I like to see, okay, in order for me to get into a trade going short, but I have to see the rejection, okay? So let's go ahead. We got the zone marked now, which is in the zone, this area right here. Again, if you notice what took place here, this was a break of structure to the downside. So the market on its way back up, as it was trailing back to the upside here, tapped into this supply zone, okay? Why is it supply? Number one, you got to look at it like this, okay? Let me blow it up for you. People always have a tendency to ask. Aggressive selling to the downside, okay? Aggressive selling basically means that what? The market pushed hard from a particular area. So if it pushes quick from an area and is aggressive selling, all right, then that means that there's a possibly opportunity when the market gets back there, especially if the zone is untested or there's a gap back at the zone, which there was. There was a small area, a small gap where that red line is right here. It represents kind of like there's a gap that's left over at the zone. So which means the market's going to get back there and test that area. Okay, it's got to. And what it does, you got to think logically speaking and say, well, what could possibly take place there? Well, there could be orders on the table that are waiting to be filled for the market to do what? Reject at that zone and push slightly lower or a lot lower. We just don't really know, right? But I'm going to go ahead and move and kind of squeeze this back in so we can see what took place here. And I'm getting ready to move down to my lower time frame so you can see what I'm talking about. So the market retraces back to the zone. Let's move to my 12 range chart. That is my entry chart in which I enter my positions or enter my trades, looking for execution based on rejection at the zone. Now, one thing before I move over or scale down, move down to my lower time frame chart, pay attention because remember I just showed you this was a breaking structure, right? When the market was making these higher highs and higher lows, breaking back into the zone here, or breaking back into the swing, okay? These little levels right here, okay, these are areas of resistance, okay? So when the market breaks into that area where the breaking structure took place at and starts to take out areas of resistance, what does resistance turn to? It turns to an area of support, okay? So the market could come up here like it did, tap into the zone, reject off of the area of supply, and then come down and test and bounce off one of these areas of support down here. And that's exactly what it did, okay? But if I'm going to show you what I did to be able to allow me to get into a trade. So let's blow this up a little bit so you can see this, hopefully. So when the market gets up to this zone here, I'm looking below me to see, okay, where's the first area of, say, support, which was resistance, resting below? Well, it's right here at 148. And then the next one would be, say, 144, and then 140, excuse me, then 138. So let's move down to the lower time frame now. Okay, this blue box right here, the rectangular box, represents that that higher time frame, 60 range supply zone. Okay, once we tap into that zone, all I'm looking for is basically a break lower. Okay, and then what am I trying to say here? Sorry guys, supply zone setup off of my lower time frame chart, my 12 range. All right, so and as you can see here, you know, if you look at what was going on the lower time frame, the market was doing what? It's making, you know, these lower lows, excuse me, these higher highs and higher low pushes to the upside. So each one, even right here, pushed up, pulled back, and broke slightly higher right here. You know, you got this candle wicking out at the top here, so slightly break above, you know, create a slightly newer high. So then we start to do what? We start to move it lower, push down, pull back, you know, starting to make lower lows and lower highs. So we're creating or taking out areas of structure back to the downside, okay? And so what I want to see as we break structure back down to the downside, where there is a, I want to take a trade at a supply area that's created here on the lower time frame. So as it breaks structure, makes low, lower high, lower low, lower high, I'm looking for a area where there's supply that is created now to the downside on the lower time frame to get into a trade. And not immediately, but when the market gets back to the zone. But first I need to find a zone, mark it off, like right here, pushes down, pulls back, lower lows. See this area right here? That's a small area of supply, okay, off the lower time frame chart. When the market, then what I do is I want to see the market retrace back to that area. When it retraces back to that area, the last step in what I look for is just a break and close of the candle in the opposite direction. So you see this last bullish up candle right here. When the market breaks and closes below it, I'm going short. Okay, because that's the confirmation for rejection right there. But again, we're marking a zone. This case here, supply off of the higher time frame. Then we move down to the lower time frame, and I want to see rejection. Okay, when the market's moving in the opposite direction, where it starts to break structure lower, and I want to identify a supply zone off the lower time frame now, in which we scale down to. And all we have to do then is you just wait for the market retrace back to it to see if you get the rejection to give you confirmation to go short. Again, now be mindful because we have these areas of support right here below. So the first area where it's probably going to struggle or tap into is going to be around 148 area. So if you got in here, right here, let's say you're aggressive and you got in here at 55, okay, then that's, you know, that's without waiting for the break and the close of the candle, then you got in aggressive. Now, if you got in here at 53, all right, 53, and took it down and say 48, then you pick yourself up roughly 5, possibly 6 points, because it did push a little lower and it tested, you know, some tested some areas of support right below it. Okay, but you have to. That's why I always say pay close attention to price action, because you got to see, even though the market's at a zone of interest for you, and you're looking for the strategy to use your strategy to unfold and execute to get in a trade. You got to pay attention to price action, what's sitting below, to understand, is it going to bounce at that zone? How much clearance do I have to be able to trade back down to a certain zone? Or not a zone, but a area of support or area of resistance. You got to see, is there support resting right below? If so, is it right below where I'm getting ready to trade it? Then you may not want to take that trade because you don't have any clearance to be able to take a trade too, is what I'm trying to say. So if you pay attention, on that trade I took that I posted over on the Discord, I took profit, I think 145, 18,145. It came down a little bit lower, down to 42 or 41, pushed back up, tap back into the zone again. All right. Now, when you see rejection like that at the zone again, we're basically looking for the same type of setup, you know, where the market's breaking lower, breaking structure, which I didn't really pay. Let's see what happened here. So it broke slightly higher. That'd have been a little tough to get into, but I didn't take that. You know, I wasn't really looking to trade because the market, you can see here, even though it came down and pushed lower right here, it broke higher, but it tapped back into the zone again. But if you're looking for that setup using the strategy on the lower time frame, it really never gave you a good opportunity to set up until it started breaking structure lower. And then you possibly maybe could have been able to get to a trade. But you got to be mindful. Again, what it probably was going to do once it rejected this area here and started breaking lower, if you got into a trade looking for a decent zone, again, you'll be looking for supply setup or supply zone to retrade back into off of the lower time frame, wait for the rejection, close it, break and close of the candle. You're going to be aiming for this low down here at 142. And as you can see, it ran that low, and then it's testing, lower areas down here. So it's going to be interesting to see how far it's going to go. I mean, you see it right now, it's tapping. When it rejected right here, it came down and broke below 143. Okay, see that low sitting right there? Then it pushes lower and it's testing this area of resistance right here. Okay, now there's an area of demand off of the 60 range chart, my higher time on my higher base chart at 18,100. I talked about that. I put it out there. I put it out there on the Discord, just kind of be letting the members know that, hey, there's a demand zone there, so be mindful as to what could take place there. So it could get to this area here and reject that area and push back up. So we'll see if it gets there today. But right now it's kind of moving sideways. But yeah, I just want to show you guys this and let you know that no matter when you start, okay, start to learn to trade the futures, it's always better to do it sooner than later. All right. And really take your time in doing so, making sure that you understand and you're learning the right components to be able to put you on the right path to trade successfully. And I'm telling you, market structure is going to be the key to your success. I push that. I state it. I always talk about it. I will never stop talking about it because it is extremely, extremely important. But I just want to show you as well the strategy that I use that works for me each and every day. And we have people that are part of the community as well, Discord, that trade similar to the way I trade. And they're profiting. They're making money, okay? And if you don't really believe me, you can ask. You can come over to the community and ask. But again, I'm not a teacher. I'm not an educator. I'm not a mentor. I'm just sharing my experience, and I'm sharing how I trade and putting it out there. You can try it yourself, back test to see if it works for you, especially if you're someone new to beginning to trade. Maybe you'll love the strategy. Maybe you'll love it. Give it a try. Practice it. See if it works for you. But you really got to spend time understanding and mastering market structure first and foremost. But outside of that, that's all I have to share with you today. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in on the daily to watch the videos, okay? Okay, and there's a lot of value in the videos if you spend time doing so. A lot of people, quote unquote, like to call me a teacher and educator. I'm not, guys. I'm just no different than anyone else, and just sharing the way that I do things and the way that I perceive things, and just hopes that it inspires other individuals. But if you're not a current subscriber, please take the time to go ahead and click on the sub button so that you never miss miss any of the information here. But you got to make sure that you turn on all your post notifications. So click on the sub button. Make sure that you turn on all your post notifications. And last but not least, if you found value in the content, please leave a like on the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. And I'm wrapping up today. I am done trading. And if you're trading, please be safe in the markets today. Take care.